Hello crafty friends and welcome to the Hip Kit Club channel. My name is Tashiana and today I have a video using the weekly recipe, and I will tell you quickly that the recipe this week includes pattern paper, cardstock, houses, florals, and some sort of circle or round element. And so I'm doing what I always do when I start a layout, which is putting some color down on the background. I like to jazz all my backgrounds up. It's easier for me to start with white cardstock versus pattern paper and then add a bunch of mixed media to it. Something about starting with a clean canvas and getting to build it up from the ground up just works for me. So I'm starting with fossilized amber, bundled sage, and speckled egg distress oxide inks. And I'm just doing some ink smushing in some horizontal lines. I picked a pink, I picked a yellow, a green, and a blue, and that is the entire color scheme for this layout. There are no real other colors. I think there's a few peach tones by the end of it, but I really stuck to the yellow, the green, and the blue. So I'm just popping some of that color down to a sheet of acetate, adding some water, and then smushing it along my background. And then as I do that, I'm going in with a paper towel to blot up the extra ink and just kind of taking a look at what it looks like. And there we go. I have my 3 horizontal lines. This is I'm not even going to bother calling it a rainbow. It is just some striped color. And now we're going to move on. So based on the colors that I put on my background, I chose 3 papers to coordinate, 2 pattern papers and 1 cardstock. And now that I'm looking at the recipe was supposed to use 2 cardstocks, and can I call my white background the cardstock so I can make sure that I stuck to the recipe? Because now that I'm looking at it, I only used 1 cardstock. So we're going to go ahead and say that the white cardstock was the other cardstock, and so I stuck to the recipe. But I'm using 2 pattern papers, both from the Marigold collection, and then this yellow cardstock. This comes from the cardstock add-on. If you don't have a cardstock stash, the cardstock add-on is a great investment. And part of the reason why the cardstock add-on is so great is you can use them for layering, you can use them for die cutting. So if you want to, put it on your silhouette mat and cut it out, or if you have some dies, like having a cardstock stash, it's just a wonderful thing to have. So I'm really glad that the cardstock add-on is a thing and that it coordinates with the kits. My favorite thing about the Hip Kit is that the colors coordinate. So there's a mix of Pink Fresh in here, there's Maggie Holmes in here, there's Pebbles in here, but the geniuses behind the Hip Kit line, they do all the coordinating for you. So now I'm doing the thing that I never do, and I am fussy cutting because I needed some round elements, and I thought these picture frames in that Pink Fresh sheet would be a great element to add. So I fussy cut 3 of them. I did a yellow one, a green one, and that kind of peachy one, and I thought that color was okay to add because the peach is kind of in between. I don't know. It felt like it went with that weird rainbow system that I'm building. I wouldn't have added like red. Like you see that eventually I pulled out something red and I was like, oh, that doesn't work, and I put it away. So I've set aside my frames where I want them to go on my layout. The 2 circles on top of the photo, I'm documenting a photo of Yummy Yummy Noah looking at some flowers, and I thought this photo would be perfect because the theme required some florals. And so I pulled out the Pink Fresh Days of Splendor ephemera pack that comes in the main kit, and I'm rifling through it, pulling out some bits and pieces, pulling out another circle frame that's in the green, pulling out that green autumn card, trying to decide what I want to layer. And this is how I do my layouts. I literally just rifle through an ephemera pack and pick whatever feels good. And sometimes I get it pretty quickly. Sometimes I'm like faffing about. Sometimes I go through the whole pack. The good thing about sticking to a monochromatic, this is not monochromatic. I need to stop calling this monochromatic. The good thing about sticking to a fixed color scheme is that I don't have to like second guess things. So if it was purple or any colors that were not already in the kit that I'm using, the scheme that I'm using, see that? Look at how awful that orange leaf looks. It does not stay there. And then I pulled out the Maggie Holmes Marigold chipboard sheet. And what you saw me do is just grab an anti-static powder tool. This is an embossing tool, but I like to use it to take the stickiness off of stickers so that I can use them as die cut. So I knew I wanted to put some houses because houses were one of the themes the recipe things. And I think these are schools, but we're going to go ahead and say that they're houses for the sake of my layout. And then I pulled out that Pebbles sticker sheet because it had those really cool dark blue florals. And again, hitting it with my anti-static powder tool to take the stickiness off of it. And now I can use it like ephemera. So I can pick and choose where I want to put it on the layout. So now I'm going ahead and I'm sticking everything together, and this is how I build. I like to build from the top down. So I first arrange everything, and then I just start picking up little pieces and gluing them exactly where they were. So I like to try things on first, and then I pick it and I stick it, and it helps the layout building go really fast this way. So once you build like your kind of cluster design, then you just go in and pick things up and stick them down. And I'm doing things that interact with the photo. So things are going on top of the photo, things are going behind the photo, things are going in between the levels of my embellishments. Also that there's different heights in this layout. Now I didn't use any foam tape, which is weird, right? This isn't me, but I didn't use any foam tape on this layout. I chose to keep it relatively flat because of the chipboard. I wanted the chipboard to be the height on the page, and I was worried that if I added foam, I would just have too much height because this does, eventually have to go into an album. So I chose to let the chipboard be the high points on my layout, and now I'm sticking things as they go, adding another little house, adding that flower to the top left portion of my layout. I really liked that little squirrel, and I thought that it went with the color scheme that I chose. I picked up some tree stickers from the that pebble sheet, again, hit it with my anti-static powder tool so it became ephemera. This is the Pink Fresh Days of Splendor. These are like circle chipboard stickers, and I thought it'd be fun to put one in that frame since I had that green one in the bottom frame. So now I'm trying to decide which one I want to use. There were some with some sentiments. I eventually grabbed a little yellow one with a house because reinforcing the houses, and also that yellow one was like the perfect color to go with my layout. Adding that tree, and again, adding things at different heights like this creates a scene. So the tree just needed to peek out behind those bottom two houses. So I just popped it in at the very last moment. And then I put glue all over the back side of my cluster. And we're adding a few more embellishments. The chipboard does come in the embellishment kit. It's not in the main kit. So if you do want the 6x12 chipboard sheet, and I liked these little black florals. I thought they felt kind of like enamel dots, like a little sprinkling. And then I looked at it, and it was just too much of a straight line on the bottom of my layout. Like I didn't like how straight that line was. So I went back into that frame sheet, and I picked two more frames in a green and a yellow, cut them out with my paper trimmer. So because these are rectangles, I could use my paper trimmer to cut them out, which made it a lot easier, no fussy cutting involved. So I just quickly roughly cut them out and then trimmed them out with my paper trimmer, and I'm putting them on the bottom of my layout. I just didn't like how straight that line was, which again, that is a personal choice. You could totally have left that line super straight, but I like it so much more with those frames sticking out the bottom because now it's not like a perfectly straight line on like a horizon, which could be a design idea if that's something you want to do on one of your own pages. So now I'm working on adding my title. And I pulled out that delightful chipboard, and I want my title to be Delightful Adventures. So the gold stickers were in the main kit, and I like to just put stickers like this on a ruler to help me put them down straight. And then even after I do that, I faff about with it for like 20 minutes, rearranging the letters, trying to make sure they go down straight, not committing to anything. It is literally the worst thing that I do. The amount of times I played with that V and that E is just, it's wild. But I use the kind of a soft and plastic ruler. This is like a ruler from an old Erin Condren planner, and that's how I stuck down my title. And then I added some gold thickers. This is also from a Maggie Holmes sticker sheet, but this is from like a thicker sheet. And I added some gold thickers in 3 places across my layout to repeat that texture of the puffy sticker, and also to repeat that metallic so it's not just, in the title. And then I did the thing that I do on every page I make. Like, I feel like these days it's not a Tazhi page unless I do the thing. And the thing is where you just roughly cut out on 2 edges. Now, this is a pretty big thing. Normally, I just do it in a smaller place, but I was like, I got plenty of space to use because my layout is so central based, so there's so much white space. So I cut out on the top and the bottom, one more skewed to the left, one more skewed to the right. And then I took the same pattern papers that I used in my layout and that same yellow cardstock. I put the yellow on the bottom since it was the first color I used in my rainbow, and I put the green on the top, and you'll see what it looks like once I stick both of these pieces down. But I think it's just such a fun element. It's an easy way to add texture, an easy way to add a little bit of distressing. Like if you're not a fan of the mixed media and the messy paint pages, this is an easy way to add that kind of distressed element, because all you're doing is adding pattern paper. And if you use the same papers that you've already used in your layouts, then you're not like mixing and matching patterns. It's just an easy way to reinforce a design choice that you've already made. So after I stick this down, I decide it needs a little bit more dimension and a little bit more mess. So I decided to do some ink splatter. I just smushed some Distress Oxide on an acrylic block, add some water with a small paintbrush, and then add some splatters, the yellow on the top, the blue on the bottom, just to repeat the color scheme that I've already chosen, and that completes this layout. It was so fun to put together. I loved this recipe. The weekly recipes really challenge me, and there's in the beginning I'm looking at them, I'm like, what am I going to do with houses and circles? And then there's so much fun once you get them done. So I hope you enjoyed this video, you guys. Don't forget to head on over to the Hip Kit Club site to purchase the kits if you're interested in anything I used here. The main kit and the embellishment kits are always such value. Like if you don't get anything else, the main kit and the embellishment kits are such value. The paper kits, the cardstock add-on, the color kits, the hip kits just do a wonderful job of mixing and matching the colors so you don't have to do it for you. So I hope you enjoyed this layout. I hope you enjoyed this recipe and it inspired you to give it a try on your own. It was just such a fun layout to put together and such a fun process to record. So that's all I have for you today, guys. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and leave a comment in the description letting us know which kit you're purchasing to add to your own haul. And I will see you around, guys. Bye.